Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unit 4 of the course. I hope everyone had a good and safe spring break. And I know that technically you came back a week ago, so I hope everything is, adjusting well, and you're getting kind of getting back in the swing of things. So I was looking through our syllabus today and the tracking calendar, and I see that we are going to be at the end of the course before we know it. I know, usually once through April, things are really starting to tie up and everyone's prepping for exams and everything. So I can't believe how fast this has been going this semester. So what we are going to focus on for Unit 4 is working with children, couples, and families. So this is one of my favorite units of this course. That's also because I'm biased as a trauma therapist, because we do learn a little bit about the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. Some of you might have heard of that before, might be a brand new concept for others. So let's just go ahead and go through what's going to be due this unit. So for Unit 4, it starts today, and then it's going to wrap up on April 9th. Have all of your assignments in by 11:59 p.m. if you didn't ask for an extension. So watch this video, which if you're here, you're already doing it. You're going to read chapters 5 and 8 in Halkowski. You are going to watch one of my top 5 favorite TED Talks, which is by Dr. Nadine Burke Harris. And the title of this is How Childhood Trauma Affects Health Across a Lifetime. After that, you're going to go through and read the ACEs prevalence study. And then you're going to complete the Unit 4 assignment and complete discussion board number 3. So for discussion board number 3, you're going to be reflecting on the TED Talk. So you're going to talk a little bit about, what did you think about the TED Talk? What stands out to you about the ACEs findings? Some positive or negative reactions? How does this research impact you as a helping professional? And do you have any remaining questions about ACEs? So, as you might have caught on by now, ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And I'm going to give you a little background on this. So this was a study that initially took off in the 90s. And what it was taking a look at is adverse childhood experiences. So they, back then, were looking at the basics. Was there physical abuse in the home? Any type of abuse in the home? Was a parent incarcerated? Was a parent addicted to substances? So, excuse me. So it's taking a look at just like very basic adverse experiences that a child might experience in their home growing up. And what it looks at is, does a person's long-term health outcomes, such as the chances of developing, cardiac disease and different health conditions down the road, does having these adverse childhood experiences in the home impact later health outcomes as an adult? So the answer is yes. What you're going to find is a lot of research done by Dr. Nadine Burke Harris, and also her knowledge of this paired with the ACEs prevalence study, and you're going to read the statistics of how many times more likely someone with a certain number of ACEs is more likely to develop an adverse health condition later on. So the whole thing about this is, just to give you kind of a quick synopsis, is so when you come from a home and you're experiencing adverse childhood experiences as a child. So, when we get trained in EMDR, which is a trauma intervention, we learn that, from the ages of 0 to 7 are your most formative years. And so if we take a look at someone who experiences, negative experiences as a child in the home, basically what happens is, when you think about your fight or flight system, usually it kind of is activated when, there's a threat or some type of danger present. For someone as a child who is used to adverse experiences, their fight or flight response is on so frequently that it becomes the norm. That's what their body is functioning at. And essentially, there is a lot of risk and negative health outcomes that come along with your body being under that type of stress for a prolonged period of time, especially if we're talking like years, throughout childhood, adolescence, adulthood, all of that. So essentially, the study is saying that the more adverse experiences you have, however many more times likely someone is to develop a negative health outcome. So I hope that makes sense. I know that I'm just giving you a brief synopsis, but Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris talks about it a lot more. She gives like a really good analogy about like, when you see a bear in the woods, your fight or flight kicks on. But that's if there's a bear in the woods. What happens when that bear comes home every night? So basically what happens when someone's fight or flight system is activated, long term. So just keep that in mind. Definitely pay attention to that. It's really, really interesting research. And again, I'm very biased, but it's really, really good stuff to, pay attention to. And, a lot of the questions that I get, in the discussion boards, and I'm kind of try to address them now, is, how are we, addressing this now as a society of professionals? So Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris is actually a pediatrician. I believe she's the Surgeon General in California. At least she was last time I checked. I don't know kind of where she is now with that. But she's talking about screening for these adverse childhood experiences in their annual visits, when they come to the doctor. Is that happening regularly? I would like to say I don't know, but essentially the answer is no. So some doctors do adopt this. Some doctors are really good with this, but I don't think it's happening across the board. And there could be a number of reasons for that. It could be, just unawareness of the research, unawareness of the importance of it, not buying into the research and the importance of it and whatnot. But ways to improve it, yeah, I think there's a lot of room for growth in terms of, annual wellness visits from pediatricians and doctors and whatnot. So a lot of the questions I get are, how do we advocate for this? How do we make this well known? Why is this not something that is happening across the board? Very, very good questions. As far as advocating for it, or something that like we can do on like an individual basis, is share this information, so I use my platform as a therapist to discuss this with clients. I use my platform as an educator to, educate you students on this. So it's all about, I think, just like knowledge and awareness. When I first saw this TED Talk years ago, I went and I posted it on Facebook. Like, there's just different ways that you can advocate. So don't forget that. Even if it's not, going into primary care doctors' offices and advocating for it, like you can still advocate for it on, a simpler level. So this is all just stuff that I want you to be aware of. I want you to keep in mind. So this is really, really important with children and adolescents when you're doing counseling. Your LMFTs, licensed marriage and family therapists, are going to be those marriage and couples therapists, as well as the family counselors. But licensed mental health counselors can, specialize in, a family counseling or a couples counseling role as well. So there's a couple of different avenues to go ahead and, do the child and adolescent or the marriage and couples and family counselors. So you'll learn a little bit about that, from the book and in the reading this week. So I think that's pretty much it for Unit 4. What I also want to encourage you to keep checking in on or working on is your advocacy paper, because we are not going to really do anything to address this assignment as far as things that are due until the last week of the course. And just a heads up, so the conclusion unit is when the advocacy paper is due, and then just your last journal reflection. But you only have from like Sunday to I think Friday. So you only get one not even a full week at the end of the semester for the conclusion unit. And like that unit was meant to just kind of give you a little bit of extra time to wrap things up and to submit them. So just keep in mind that this is going to be coming relatively quickly. Again, just to discuss it, again, and kind of hit it home. Your advocacy paper is in sections, and the outline for this is within the papers and projects section in UB Learns. And the advocacy plan is something that you don't just kind of breeze through. Like, this is the main element of your paper. So I want it to be well thought out. I want it to be detailed. And just as another reminder, you are speaking first person in the advocacy plan. In the first two sections, where you're giving your literature review, you're giving the implications for counselors, that's more objective. So you're just stating research or, what you're finding. The advocacy plan itself is going to be first person. So as a counseling professional, this would be my plan, my advocacy plan for this population, and then bullet all the things that you would do with really good details. So I always have like maybe 5 students at the end of the semester that just completely miss the mark with that, and do really bad because they end up like not doing very well in the course because they do so poorly on the paper because it is worth so many points. So please just make sure you're paying attention to that. Again, there's a sample paper in there for you to show you what I'm looking for. There is the outline. Everything should be there for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Just let me know. I really want to be here to help you do well. So reach out to me. Let me know if you need anything. But other than that, you're all set. So all of assignments are due April 9th by 11:59 p.m. And then I will post Unit 5 on the 10th and we will carry on. So let me know if you need anything. Good luck.